Ladies and gentlemen.
But you guys, now we need to talk about Jon Hamm. My lord, what in the world is he doing? This guy has been plagued by allegations which shockingly were buried for quite some time. And I don't know if it's because when they came out, it was like during the height of the Mad Men love, and nobody wanted to think anything bad about Jon Hamm, even though his character was a jackass the entire time. You guys, what is the deal with his weak mouth? Do you guys know what I'm saying? Jon Hamm would be a perfectly handsome man if he would just not talk or do that pursing thing he does with his lips. I'm telling you, I've never seen a man with a weaker mouth. I've read that phrase in books before, like he had a weak mouth, and I've been like, what does that mean? Like he had dentures that were not in? I mean, what? Jon Hamm has a weak mouth. And he does this thing that he purses his lips when he's upset about things and scenes, and I'm like, I wish you would never do that again. You just lost all credibility with me as a man. Anyway, but Jon Hamm has been plagued with rumors because when he was in college in Texas, University of Austin, I believe, he was involved in some hazing rituals, which were not like, let's throw cold oatmeal on you in the night. It was like, let me break your spine and possibly injure your kidney to such an extent that you lose it. I mean, these allegations were terrible, but so far he'd been able to shrug them off. But they have resurfaced again in their full glory. And let me just tell you that this person's ability to maintain in Hollywood after the fact that he almost killed someone is beyond shocking. And has been pointed out by others, people have been canceled for far less than this. This kind of mean-spirited aggression towards another human being in what is considered like, well, it's just a hazing ritual. Like, no, this is just a time in which you let your worst instincts take over and you are controlled by every dark instinct you've ever had. This is not like, oh, we just had some fun one night and like we woke them up at, 3 o'clock in the morning. And of course, hazing as a rule consistently gets out of control. I've never been part of any kind of sorority. I don't know. Do they do hazing in sororities? I don't know. I think it's kind of a fraternity thing. But anyway, Jon Hamm was in a fraternity. And he decided, he was like what seemed to be like the ringleader of this hazing group. And he's hazing these new little pledges. And these sad little jokers really, really wanted to be part of this weird little clique and were willing to put their lives on the line. Now, I don't think they would have done this had they known it was going to be like this. I mean, I'm sure they expected some hazing, but nobody could have expected this. So apparently Jon Hamm comes to this guy and he tells him, look, you have to know, there's things you got to know around here. And you need to know what my nicknames are. Do you know them? Well, of course, little young pledgeling knows nothing. He just got here. What does he know who you are? What does he know about your nicknames? So he could not reiterate to Jon Hamm what the nicknames were. Well, Jon Hamm was known as MC Hammer. So you don't know it. I guess that means we need to destroy you. So they take young pledgeling and like I think a couple of others. Yeah, there's definitely other people there because they spoke about it in court. And the night began to go bad very quickly. So in the course of this torture, because that's what it was, they can call it hazing, it wasn't. It was an absolute torture session. They take this guy, his name is Mark Sanders. They take him to a room where there are other fraternity brothers there ready to do the bidding of Jon Hamm. They have a wooden paddle that is a foot long and so heavy it has to be held with two hands. Jon Hamm takes the paddle and delivers a blow so hard squarely on the back of Mark Sanders, he immediately feels incredible damage has been done to his kidney. When this whole thing is over and he gets to the doctor, they're like, you might lose this kidney. So much damage had been done to him through the blow of Jon Hamm with that paddle, right? So then, that's not enough. Two of the other fraternity brothers come over, grab his underwear, and in a sawing motion are pulling up his underwear. He doesn't even know how long this goes on. It goes on and on and on. He's in brutalizing pain. He can hardly see straight because of the pain to his kidney. Then Jon Hamm takes a hammer and with the claw side hooks him under his genitals and drags him around the room for a full minute. The guy is in excruciating pain. They drag him downstairs to a place it's called like the pit. It's this dark, dank, dirty hole. It's literally dirt on the ground. And they make him do push-ups. And while he's doing push-ups, they're beating him, pushing his face into the ground so that he can't even breathe. Remember, his kidney is almost in failure at this point. His genitals are on fire. Then they stand him up. Jon Hamm then lights the guy's pants on fire. And when the guy's freaking out and trying to pat the fire out, Jon grabs his hands and will not allow him to use his hands to put out the fire. Jon says, blow it out with your mouth. At one point, they beat him with a broom handle. He is in horrific shape. By the time he finally gets out of this ordeal, drags himself to the doctor, he has a fractured spine. The potential is that he'll lose his right kidney. He can't even breathe because they've damaged his ribs so badly that they're digging into his lungs so he can't get a full breath of air. There's damage to ligaments, arteries, blood veins. He is traumatized, obviously mentally, but physically, he is in bad shape. Now, this Mark Saunders grew up to be a doctor and a lawyer, and he now practices, I think, medical malpractice. And I'm here to tell you right now that Jon Hamm is a scumbag. Not only because he did that, but because now he minimizes it. And anytime anybody tries to ask him about it, he gets angry and agitated. And the only time he's ever discussed it, he says, yeah, it was this unfortunate episode where, you do crazy things as a kid. And, the whole thing was a bummer overall. Oh, what? No, I don't think I'd call it a bummer. No, I think I would describe it as evil, sadistic, demonic, hateful, torture. These are words to use when you break someone's spine, bust up their kidney, and beat them so badly they cannot breathe for weeks afterwards. When you're sawing at someone's genitals and hooking onto them with a hammer, I just don't feel like that's a bummer. I would call that hateful, demonic torture. Sadistic, malicious, conniving evilness. To tell somebody, oh, you don't know what my nickname is, man? Well, where's the hammer? How can he minimize it like this? And, the thing is that, sadly, people don't care enough about this story to hang him for it, because we've known about this story for a while. It's just that more details are coming out and more people are like, that's actually pretty bad. But if he would just come out and say, you know what? There are a lot of regrets in my life. And one of them is that I let this hazing ritual that I thought was kind of what you did get completely out of hand. And we just were terrible to this person. And when I think how close I came to killing him because we just let this stupid ritual get out of hand and I was at the helm of it, I'm shocked that at any point in my life I could have ever done something like that. And it really just goes, he could have spun it in 1,000 different ways, but at the core of it, taking accountability for what he did, saying to somebody, yeah, it's just a bummer. It's a bummer that happened, as though he had nothing to do with it. That it was yeah, we went to the beach and the sun didn't come out, so that was a bummer. That's a bummer. Okay? It's not a bummer when you break someone's spine. At least not for them. Maybe it was for you. Was it a bummer that you didn't actually splinter his spine into 1,000 pieces? Was it a bummer that he didn't lose his kidney? Was it a bummer that he still has his balls? I mean, what exactly was the bummer for you here, Jon Hamm?